You always seem to fall for the one person who's already halfway out the door. Most people assume that's bad luck, wrong timing, wrong person. It's usually not random at all. Something in you is drawn to exactly that kind of unavailable. Here's the pattern underneath it, starting with where it first got wired. Think about the people you felt the strongest pull toward. Not the ones who were kind and consistent from the start. The ones who ran a little hot and cold. Who texted back fast sometimes and disappeared for days other times. Who made you feel like you had to earn their attention over and over just to keep it. Meanwhile, someone steady, someone genuinely interested, someone who texted back right away, somehow felt less exciting. Almost boring in a way that's hard to explain out loud. Maybe you've even ended things with someone kind, telling yourself there was just no spark, while staying up late overanalyzing a one-word reply from someone who barely puts in any effort at all. That's not a coincidence. It's not you being broken or shallow. It's a pattern with a name and a very specific origin. Here's how it usually starts. For a lot of people, love wasn't consistent early on. Maybe a parent was warm sometimes and distant other times, and you never knew which version you'd get. Maybe affection had to be earned. Through good behavior, good grades, being easy, being quiet, being whatever kept the peace. Maybe love came with conditions so subtle you couldn't name them, only feel them. Maybe you learned to read tiny shifts in mood just to predict which version of love you'd get that day. That's skill, scanning for approval, watching closely for signs of withdrawal. It followed you straight into adulthood. So your nervous system learned something specific about what love actually feels like. It learned that love is unpredictable. That it has to be chased, earned, monitored closely for signs it might disappear. That certainty and love don't really belong in the same sentence. Now, as an adult, your body has a very particular definition of what love should feel like. And consistency doesn't match that definition, even when it's exactly what you say you want. Here's the part that explains why this pattern is so hard to break. There's actual brain chemistry involved, not just old memories. Unpredictable reward triggers a stronger dopamine response than consistent reward does. This is the same mechanism that makes slot machines addictive. Not knowing if you'll win keeps you pulling the lever more than winning every time ever would. Inconsistent attention from a person works the same way on your brain. The uncertainty itself becomes the hook, not the person. Every text back after a long silence feels like a small win. A small hit of relief and excitement. Your body reads that as chemistry, as a spark, as something powerful happening. But what it's actually responding to is unpredictability, not compatibility. That relief feels euphoric precisely because it follows real tension, the same way relief from any withdrawal does. It's not the person making you feel good. It's the ending of the anxious weight they caused in the first place. That's the trap. It feels like intense attraction. It's often just your nervous system reacting to a familiar rhythm of uncertainty it already knows how to survive. Meanwhile, calm, available love doesn't trigger that same spike. There's no gap to close, no chase, no uncertain outcome keeping your attention locked in. So it can register as flat even when it's actually healthy. Your body has learned to associate peace with boredom and chaos with passion. Those two things were never supposed to mean the same thing. But for a lot of people, they got tangled together early. Think about what this costs over time. You keep choosing people who mirror the same inconsistency you grew up around. Every relationship becomes a variation on the same theme. Chasing someone just out of reach. The steady, available people who do show interest get quietly dismissed as not exciting enough. Not because they're actually wrong for you, but because your nervous system doesn't recognize their calm as safe. It reads it as unfamiliar, and unfamiliar can feel like nothing at all. You end up exhausted again and again by relationships that require constant chasing just to feel normal. And you start to wonder if calm, steady love even exists for you. Or if it was only ever meant for other people. There's often a quiet belief tangled up in all of this too, one that rarely gets said out loud. A belief that you have to prove your worth by winning over someone difficult to win. As if love that comes easily somehow counts less than love you had to fight for. Sentence 73. That belief usually traces back to the same place the original pattern did. Sentence 74. If love once had to be earned, ease can start to feel suspicious, almost undeserved. Sentence 75. Here's what changes once you understand this pattern clearly. Sentence 76. The spark you feel with unavailable people isn't proof of a deeper connection. Sentence 77. It's often just your nervous system's alarm bell, dressed up as excitement. Sentence 78. Genuine compatibility doesn't usually feel like anxiety with good moments mixed in. Sentence 79. It feels steadier than that, even if it takes longer to notice because it's less dramatic. Sentence 80. So what do you actually do with a nervous system wired this way? Sentence 81. The first step is learning to tell the difference. Sentence 82. Between anxious excitement and genuine connection. Sentence 83. They can feel almost identical in the body. Sentence 84, racing heart, restless thoughts, a pull you can't quite explain. Sentence 85, one question that helps is asking whether you feel more like yourself around this person. Sentence 86, or more like you're performing to keep them interested. Sentence 87, a useful test is imagining how you'd feel if this person's interest never wavered at all ever. Sentence 88, if the thought feels flat instead of relieving, that's worth paying attention to honestly. Sentence 89, genuine connection tends to feel like relief. Sentence 90, anxious attraction tends to feel like a low hum of tension that never fully goes away. It also helps to give consistency an actual chance, past the first instinct that labels it boring. Sometimes calm just needs time to register as safety instead of as a lack of spark. Your nervous system isn't going to trust it immediately, especially if it's never experienced steady love before. That doesn't mean the calm person is wrong for you. It might just mean you need more evidence before your body believes it's allowed to relax. Give that evidence time to accumulate instead of writing it off in the first few weeks. This might take months, not days, and that's not a sign anything is wrong with the connection. It's simply how long it takes a nervous system to unlearn a lesson it spent years learning. It also helps to notice when you're doing the chasing. If you find yourself working hard to secure someone's interest, ask honestly whether that effort is mutual, or whether it's mostly coming from you. One-sided chasing usually isn't chemistry. It's often just the old pattern running exactly as it was trained to. This isn't about forcing yourself to feel attracted to people who don't interest you at all. It's about questioning whether the intensity you're chasing is actually love, or just a familiar kind of uncertainty wearing love's clothing. You are not broken for wanting steady love and struggling to recognize it when it arrives. You were taught very early a specific definition of what love has to feel like to be real. That definition made sense once in the environment that built it. It kept you prepared or connected, or simply loved in whatever partial way was actually available then. It's not the only definition available to you now. If you spent years chasing people who couldn't fully choose you back, you're far from alone in that. So many people are only now learning that the chase itself was never actually love. Just a very convincing imitation of it wearing all the right symptoms of a real spark. Subscribe if this explains something you've never had words for. And next time, we'll talk about what it actually feels like when calm, available love finally starts to feel like enough.